Welcome to Speak for Yourself. Marcel Swiley here with my man, Emmanuel Acho.
Let's get it.
Another one for the Mount Rushmore of suits? Yes?
Thank you.
Boy,
Another one.
Boy, crispy over here. Let's start it off with college football, who shook up the sports world Tuesday with news that the Big Ten and Pac-12 are both postponing their seasons in hopes of playing in the spring. However, the Big 12 announced they will proceed with their plans to play this fall. ACC and SEC are also expected to be on board with playing in September. Cho, you confident these conferences will be able to pull this off?
Absolutely, bro. When I was thinking about this morning, I thought to myself, you know, some schools, they play football, but other schools, they live for football, right? Some schools, they have football programs, but some schools are football programs. And the rest of these conferences, Big 12, SEC, ACC, they got some programs that they're just like, you know what? We're going to find a way to make it work. And I respect that. I respect that. Within the confinements of keeping it safe for the players, they're saying we're going to find a way to make it work. Think about it. You have 39 Power 5 teams plus Notre Dame amongst those three conferences. 39 teams.
All right.
Of those 39 teams, each of those conferences can say, you know what? Let's play within our conference, crown a conference champ. That gives you 3 conference champs. Let the best team have a bye. Let the other 2 teams play it out, 2 and 3. Whoever wins that game plays that team that has a bye. And just like that, you still have a playoff. So can it So can it happen? Of course it can happen because these teams want it to happen. But let's make no mistake about it. The Big Ten and the Pac-12, they could have made it happen too. They just jumped ship a little too soon. So I'm very confident these other 3 conferences can and will figure it out.
Yeah, look. We all know when there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely.
And they are willing, so they're going to find a way. And I think they're going to be able to find a healthy way in terms of respecting the protocol, providing security, stability, and measuring everything by the health and safety standards, but still playing some football. I look at the SEC, I look at the ACC, semi-pro. Some people say semi-pro. Semi-pro. They're incentivized properly to go out there and let the economic forces lead the way and still respect the health balance issues that made the Pac-12 and Big Ten tap out. And it's weird the Pac-12 and Big Ten tapped out, especially the Pac-12. They had a schedule. Y'all were practicing. And then, I swear, look, this is conjecture, but I swear some litigator said, excuse me, you see what we have in the bank in terms of our endowment? Do you want any of that compromise for the sake of football? And I think there was just a conversation that turned them in a different direction, made them do a 180. But what's happening right now at the pro level, because that's where you have to look when you want to talk about incentives and the economic forces and how you can protect players. And you can see it working at sport after sport, whether it's the NBA with the bubble, or you could talk about even college football. And the ACC is reporting how all of their testing in the last month, dramatic decrease in terms of people contracting the coronavirus to the point where they feel comfortable and confident going forward. So, as I said yesterday, man, the real world versus a protected sports environment in terms of health, in terms of injury, that MRI still haunts me. When I used to get MRI after MRI when I was an active
Don't go
player.
back there.
Look, you twist you just twist and sprain your toe. And you're in emergency triage, right? When you're an athlete, that happens in the real world. You got to make appointments for the next year. And even then, it's not a guarantee. So I just think it's a safer environment, and obviously the incentives are there.
We got to call a spade a spade. Remember, programs like Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, LSU, they just care about football a little bit more than some of these other conferences.
What you know about Texas caring about football?
I mean, look, bro, when you think about Texas, where I played at, you think about the Ricky Williams. You think about the Earl Campbells. When you think about Alabama, you think about the Sabins. You think about all the notable figures there. That's why you got a school like Nebraska, historically a big-time football program, a town in which lives and breathes football. They talking about a Big Ten. I don't know about y'all, but I'm trying to get up out of this conference and go play some football because it means more to these other 3 conferences. But to your point, Marcel is talking about the safety of it all. The NHL, they have their own testing system. They have their 2 bubbles. The NBA, they clearly have their bubble in Orlando. The NFL, you've seen the mandate. They get tested every single day. So it's not as if there's a one-size-fits-all, as if you're in a shoe store trying on a pair of shoes or a sock. It's not a one-size-fits-all. You figure out what works for the NCAA. Y'all conferences, figure out what works for you and keep it pushing.
Yeah, I mean, the tough thing is I think that perfect is going to be the enemy of good because people are looking for a perfect situation to allow these student athletes to go out there and participate in these sports and these conferences, when all you have to do is mitigate risk. You really have to have a contrast. You have to have the equation of what it's going to look like on campus, what it's going to look like in your real-world situation in case you're not on campus and you're learning through electronics and the technology, or you're actually in a protected sports environment. And watching Hard Knocks last night, you watch Hard Knocks?
A little bit.
Yeah, it makes me jealous, too. Like, damn, this dude's got it made. 3 weeks of walkthroughs? Good Lord, I love you. But the point of it is I saw the team values, how that was something that supported the structure and the environment of health and safety. You saw guys out there say, hey, man, don't be the one. You saw guys out there saying, follow the protocols, respect the environment, because you know being in that locker room, no matter what the issue is, and this is why the locker room is the best workspace possible. Because no matter what's bothering you, no matter what's eating you, you have to address it here because we're going to talk through it and we're going to be transparent. And then guess what? In the team atmosphere, you got to get it out, and we got to get through it because we all have one common goal. I don't give a damn what you look like. I don't give a damn where you're from. We have to address situations and then go and move forward together. In the real world, it doesn't work like that. In social media, I can spit what I want to say, and if I don't like what's coming back, I just log off. In the real world, if I don't like what y'all up to next door, around the corner, I just stay in my crib. But in a team atmosphere,
you got to get through it.
You got to get through it. And you bring those collective minds and spirits to one place. I think a pro sports mindset and that environment, SEC, ACC, properly supported, properly incentivized, would do wonders for these guys. Let's stay in college football with the postponement of the Big Ten and the Pac-12. Question has been brought up, what happens to their players? Some have suggested that someone like Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields, who will be a top pick in the NFL draft, should be able to transfer to another conference that is playing in the fall and receive immediate eligibility. Heisman Trophy candidate had this reaction to the Big Ten postponing the season, tweeting, shaking my head. So, Acho, should Justin Fields be able to transfer to a school that's playing this fall?
I'm torn, my brother.
You torn?
I'm torn.
Don't mess that suit up like that.
I'm torn, bro.
How?
I'm going to say yes, because if I'm Justin Fields, and this is the last year you would have to play before you could go pro, because you got to be out of high school for 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm sick. I'm sick right now. Of all the notable Ohio State quarterbacks that have ever come through Ohio State, most recently you got Dwayne Haskins. Justin Fields statistically has done stuff that none of them had done.
Okay.
Justin Fields on track to go be a top round, first round pick.
Yep.
And now you're going to make this man sit out, not because he wanted to, but because you, the Big Ten, couldn't figure it out. For that reason, I want Justin Fields to go on and be able to go play somewhere else, right?
Okay.
Especially given that he started at Georgia, transfers to Ohio State, balls year one, 13-1 record, Ohio State balls.
Peace.
But if the Big Ten wasn't letting they players play for safety reasons, Marcellus, what kind of sense does it make in the middle of a pandemic to have a guy fly from one region to another region, join another team that's already in the midst of a whole separate protocol and keep playing ball? It just doesn't make sense. The Big Ten said there are some underlying heart conditions that we're not aware of that might be related to the coronavirus. So for that reason, amongst other reasons, we're not going to play ball. Well, do these underlying heart conditions not exist in the SEC? Do they not exist in the ACC? Do they not exist in the Big 12?
Right.
It's not a good look overall for Fields, for Ohio State, for the Big Ten, if you let these players go play. But I'm a former player, and I'm always pro player. So for that reason, yeah, man, I got to say let Fields go transfer.
I'm a former player, and I'm always pro-truth. I don't give a damn who you are, player, management, whatever. Look, he should be able to do this, and we shouldn't attach it to coronavirus. Like, oh, now is the moment he should have been able to do this. You should have always been able to do it. If a coach can just leave and dip set and go to another school and coach that year, well, then the player should be able to do that as well. We're a little late to that conversation, but we're here now. Now, since he should be able to do it, doesn't mean he should do it. If I'm in his camp, I'm like, hell,
what you doing?
No, what are you doing? I'm chilling and riding the wave of being a top 5 pick. Right now, projected as a number 4 pick in terms of him going overall. Where are you going to move up? 3 slots? We're not moving up 3 slots. I hate to tell you, brother, Trevor Lawrence is the number 1 pick, no doubt, no diggity. He can go out there and throw 937 interceptions, and he's still the number 1 pick because he's just... He's 6'6", can move, intangibles, he's number one.
Here's a problem, and I think the flaw in your thought process is Justin Fields, while he might not be able to move up, he might just be chilling, and other people that are playing ball can pass it. Remember what we saw with Joe Burrow last year. Burrow wasn't supposed to be a first-round #1 overall pick. He played, he balled, he passed some people that prior to the season would have been ahead of him. So if Fields just chills like you're saying he should, and he kicked back on the couch, arms folded across, somebody playing in the ACC, in the Big 12, in the SEC, they may ball and go ahead and scoot on up.
No.
To the east side.
First of all, it's a means to an end. Pro sports is, and certainly college sports. You getting paid in college? No. So I'm not going to go out there and increase my risk without increasing my reward. So your scenario is a worst-case scenario. And if because it's pessimistic. It's like, oh, my God, you didn't do anything and everyone did more than you, so they're going to surpass you. Even though they've played before, and I played before as well. My film is put on ice. You know what I look like. Now, this guy may be a one-hit wonder, and you try to leapfrog me. Good luck with that and see how that plays out. But the only guys they even have ahead of him, is, as I said, is Trevor Lawrence, Patrick Surtain II. Damn, I'm getting old. I played with his daddy. I played with the first. Patrick Surtain II, and what? The Sewell, the offensive tackle from Oregon. Like, that's what it's slotted at. I would just sit there and not roll the dice. Where are you going to go and improve your draft status? You're talking about you can fall. I'm saying, how can I even get better? What's the scenario that he gets better than #4?
When I'm thinking about a specific guy like Justin Fields, plays at an elite program and played elite at an elite program, he transferred and balled his first year. So if I'm him, if I'm any notable superstar, he's already transferred and balled. Why would I not think, let me go transfer and ball again? But I think what we're missing, though, Marcel, listen, maybe shame on us because we're removed from the game a couple years. You telling a 20-year-old kid not to play the game he loves for what, about 400, 500, 600 days? He ain't played since January of 2020. So now he's not going to play all season. You're going to be like, hey, bro, just go ahead and chill until, fall of 2021 if you're lucky. Maybe 2022. Who knows how it's going to shake out. That's what you're telling them.
And I wish somebody would have told me that then. First of all, this is what they had to tell me. At 2021, hey, Wiley, you're top 5, #4 right now projected. And you're not going to be #1. It's just facts. So you could be #2 or #3 and go play. And then I'll start thinking about how many injuries I played through just to get to #4 overall. And then they say, you could just chill and just be #4 overall. You know what? I would sit there and think, this project is already done. Like, you're trying to be the sculptor that's like, no, I can't unveil it yet. I have one more freckle to put on his face. One more freckle. Like, it's already completed.
Why'd you give me a French accent? Why'd you give me a French accent?
I'm the only person that ever knows sculpts up.
But here's my thing then. If what you're saying is true, then you're talking about setting a whole new precedent for college football, which is to say, hey, if y'all ball out your first 2 years, go ahead and sit and chill and rest on your laurels.
They said that to Trevor Lawrence after year 1. They said, what are you doing, Trevor Lawrence? You're already going to be the #1 pick when eligible. Why are you still playing? Is he still the #1 pick?
But is he still playing?
No, he is right now. But if they don't, who's still going to be the #1 pick? Trevor Lawrence, man, don't have kids and start telling these kids to risk themselves unnecessarily. We got to chill with that. Coming up, Baker Mayfield stopped talking for a minute, but he's back at it. We'll tell you if calling out his critics is a good thing. Next, Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Ooh, I made it through the night. Thank God. Let's talk Baker Mayfield, who is entering his 3rd season with the Browns. But he has a 12-17 record as a starter, which has brought out plenty of criticism. Baker said earlier this offseason he was going to, quote, move in silence. Let his actions do the talking. Well, that didn't last long. He posted on Instagram a shot of himself working out, then took a shot at his critics saying, quote, I let a lot of y'all get too comfortable. It's about that time. Insert trolls commenting from their couch. Ooh, okay. Speaking of trolls from their couch, joined now by Fox NFL analyst LeVar Arrington. Banacho, come to you first, big dog.
Marcel, you're so disrespectful.
I am. I'm a clown. I'm sorry. I'm silly.
Look, gentlemen.
You like Baker sending the message to his critics?
I absolutely hate that I love Baker Mayfield. Ooh. And so I love Baker Mayfield sending a message to his critics because that's who Baker Mayfield is. Baker Mayfield, I am still infatuated with college Baker Mayfield.
I could tell.
The man who talked all the trash in the world but backed it up. Let me remind y'all of college Baker Mayfield. This man talked trash to the Kansas Jayhawks, a team that was 1-28 in their last 29 games versus the Power 5. He talked trash to the Kansas Jayhawks and then still went out there and blew them boys out. And that's who Baker Mayfield is. He plants a flag against Ohio State en route to winning a Heisman Trophy because that's who Baker Mayfield is. Baker Mayfield lives off of talking trash, gentlemen. He motivates himself by that. So he has to talk trash to his critics because that's intrinsically in his nature and in his DNA. So do I like him sending that message, Marcellus? I do. Now, I just need Baker to back it up.
Man, and that's what missed me. And this is why I am not feeling Baker Mayfield anymore. I have declared that I'm on the opposite end of the field with you in terms of Baker Mayfield. I had the same love for him coming out of college. And then I had the same love for him his rookie year when he, tied Peyton Manning's throwing touchdown record. And I was like, oh, Peyton Manning, look out. Baker Mayfield, the surprise #1 overall pick, is a beast. But now, Baker Mayfield, it's time for you to pick a side. Which Baker Mayfield are you? Because when you were coming out there and balling your rookie year, commercials everywhere, chugging beers and all that stuff, all those things were fine because it fit who you were. But then I started to realize, oh, Baker Mayfield, when he struggles, ain't got the same energy. What? All of a sudden, I want my actions to speak for me and not my words. All of a sudden, all you haters, please leave me alone and let me go and I throw in the towel, please. It's going to be a silent all season. And I'm like, what happened to the dude with all the smoke? What happened to the flag? What happened to the grab? What happened to all that? You know what happened to it?
What happened?
This dude is paper thin. MC Light told me about this in the 80s. Dude is paper thin. Dude is selling wolf tickets like E40 said in the 90s. Here's a guy that when everything is going well or the bar is really low, walk on, Heisman, rookie year, great year, MVP, everything is fine. But when the bar is higher, and all of a sudden, he trips up on it. Hey, everybody chill. Everybody be quiet. Everybody let me gather myself once again and stall me out. Nah, Baker, pick a side. And right now, I'm not feeling you. I'm not on your side.
Yeah, let's stay in the 90s because I kind of agree with you on this, Marcellus.
Yes.
Back in the 90s, there was this whole big gang banging thing going on in America. I don't, some people may have heard of this, right? And in the city, I don't know how it was in LA, but in Pittsburgh, there was this thing with your dog, your pit bull in general back in the 90s. You'd be on the corner and you'd be scared of these dogs. You let the dog off the leash, the dog would chase you, right? Now, you start to realize as you're growing up, this is how I realized I could play football. I actually was running away from a pit bull. So I'm reliving something here.
Ghetto.
But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Some of them dogs ran at you, and when they caught up to you, their tail was wagging. You thought you was about to get your foot bit off, but the dog didn't have that pit bull mentality, that reputation. But then there were those dogs that you let off the leash, and they cleared a whole entire block because their reputation preceded them.
Yeah.
At one point in time, they got a hold of a couple people. And, oh, that's Benji. They let Benji go, like, right? Okay,
Yes.
Well, right now, in these years that Baker Mayfield has been running around the block as a pit bull, those couch trolls are sitting there saying that, oh, that's the pit bull that'll catch you. He'll run after you. It looks scary. But when he gets up to you, his tail is wagging and his tongue is, and he ain't gonna bite you.
Come on,
Nope.
All right?
Nope.
Come on.
I don't like it. I don't like it because you have not shown me in the National Football League, which, by the way, isn't the dog pound dog like a bulldog or some American bulldog or something?
LA.
You got to show that you're ready to bite. I
Y'all
haven't
gotta
seen
be
it yet.
reasonable, bruh.
Haven't seen it.
Remember what the Browns were asking Baker Mayfield to do. They were asking this dude to come in and completely revitalize, re-energize an organization. Now, I'm no genius. I'm no engineering major,
We
but
can tell.
it's easier to be brought down than it is to be lifted up. And y'all was asking Baker to come in and single-handedly lift this organization up. But let's give the man a chance because think about this. Matthew Stafford, 3rd year in the league. What did he do? He led the Lions to the playoffs for the first time in 12 years. Carson Palmer, his 3rd year in the league. What did he do? He led the Bengals to the playoffs for the first time in 15 years. Derek Carr, 3rd year in the playoffs. What did he do? Led the Raiders to the playoffs for the first time in 14 years. So what we have seen is a trajectory and a trend. By year 3, people seem to have figured it out. I'm not going to sit here and knock Baker for trying to figure out, Marcellus, what he's going to do. In college, he was balling, he was cocky. Then he got to the league. He was cocky, but he wasn't balling. Everybody was saying, Baker, shut up. You're talking too much. So he shut up. But then he realized, you know what? The cocky Baker, that's the Baker that got the juice. from concentrate, mind you. So let this cocky Baker live, gentlemen. Let this cocky Baker live.
Can I have this?
Go get him, Pitbull.
I got a couple of pit bulls that bite, and I'm going to throw their names out at you since you want to throw them names out that you threw out.
Please.
What about Patrick Mahomes?
Oh.
What about Lamar Jackson? You know what they did? You know what they did? They were MVPs in their second years, their sophomore years. They were all pros. They were Pro Bowlers. You know, playoff bound. There's so many awards that I can sit here and name and rattle off for Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. And here's what's interesting. What draft pick did Baker Mayfield go?
He went number one.
Where did he go?
He went number one. He went number one. He went number one.
There's no number before one, right? There's no number. I was just talking about that. Zero. If we want to call zero a number, that's fine. You know, shouts out to Gilbert Arenas. Here's what my problem with this is. We're going to sit here and look at Joe Burrow this year, and you know what we're going to say? I hope he revitalizes Cincinnati. I hope he galvanizes everything that is representative of what a number one draft pick quarterback is supposed to do. So now all of a sudden we're going to make a difference for one Baker Mayfield. Oh, he's supposed to come into Cleveland and make Cleveland this better team. He was the number one draft pick, baby boy. Absolutely, that's his pressure point.
Here's the thing, bro. Y'all were winning this argument. You were until you decided to deviate. See, then you threw yourself into the corner of the ring. And you shouldn't have thrown yourself into the corner because now it's just time to throw these hands. You're talking about
Muhammad
Andy
Ali
Reid.
did that before.
Yeah, but he had that bob and weave game, and I'm not convinced you had.
He was roping, though. He was getting hit. Go ahead.
Here's the thing, Lamar. Andy Reid, this is a Hall of Fame coach that you're talking about. Baker Mayfield, he's on his third coach in 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. Harbaugh for the Baltimore Ravens. This coach has already won a Super Bowl before Lamar Jackson. Baker Mayfield's on his third coach in 3 years. So you can't just sit here and say Baker should have come in and played in and done what Mahomes did or Lamar Jackson did, sir.
Have you ever heard that? I went to 3 Pro Bowls with 3 different defensive coordinators. Players over plays.
Oh, goodness. Hey, first of all.
Mike is on the floor.
First of all, no. Let me pick it up and continue to win this argument since we're on the same side of it. Good Lord. He wants to act like Sean McDermott is the same as Andy Reid because Sean McDermott is the coach of the Buffalo Bills. Who's his quarterback that was drafted the same year as Baker Mayfield? His name is Josh Allen. And guess what they said to Josh Allen? Can you do something that no quarterback has been able to do in Buffalo since Marcellus Wiley played here? Make the damn playoffs. And they made the playoffs. Josh Allen made the playoffs in the same draft class as Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield has it. And Josh Allen doesn't have the same weapons as Baker Mayfield and Cleveland Browns, but I digress. And, of course, we said Lamar Jackson, which probably is not fair, except John Harbaugh was on the way out, still hitched his wagon to a franchise quarterback by the name of Joe Flacco. And then Joe Flacco had to get benched. And then Lamar Jackson said, I'll put this franchise on my back and go to the playoffs, not once, but twice.
Top 10 pick.
And not even a top 10 pick. Last pick, they kept trading down out of the draft. They got out of the second round to go back and get him in the first round. And then they get him. And they put the franchise on the back. Baker Mayfield is a front runner, man.
A front runner,
He's a front runner. When the expectations are low or he's winning, he all good. Flex. What's up, Colin Cowherd? What's up, trolls? But when he ain't that dude, can y'all call me out? Leave me alone.
So you all genuinely have the audacity. You all have the audacity to compare the Cleveland Browns organization to the Baltimore Ravens franchise. You, Marcellus,
Buffalo Bills
have the audacity,
Buffalo Bills lately?
and I'm enunciate every word. You have the audacity to compare Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns to a Chiefs team that was good before Mahomes was there. Alex Smith still had the Chiefs balling. So it's not as if the Chiefs single-handedly were balling because of Mahomes.
Hey, Acho, can I just put this in the proper perspective for you? Put the picture of Baker Mayfield back up talking to his troll sitting on the couch, all right? A troll on the couch could get up and get under a weight that has 45 pounds on each side. He's got one plate on the squat bar. One plate.
That's embarrassing.
And he got bad form.
I have no defense for that. I got no defense for that.
You're posturing. You're running with the saliva coming out of your mouth like this wild, crazy dog. And then you got to the leg, and there was no bite. It was just wagging.
Man, warm-up weight
nice
on.
To catch you.
He got warm-up weight and
Baker, you did this to me, Baker. Put some weight on the bar, Baker.
Yeah,
I tried.
Put some weight on.
I tried.
I tried. We got to really break this down. He got warm-up weight with the safety pads and a spotter.
Yes. He's not at 90.
Yeah.
He's not at 90.
That's not how you shut trolls up.
He's not. Baker, get your knees to 90.
Trolls are winning.
Look at that front runner out of my face. Coming up, a former Super Bowl MVP thinks coaches are going to try to find the next Lamar Jackson, a guy you know you can put your franchise on his back, he can carry you somewhere. We'll tell you if we agree. Next, Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Mike Moustakas lead the Reds against Salvador Perez and the Kansas City Royals. MLB baseball tonight at 6:30 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app for my baseball voice. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Let's move on to Lamar Jackson, who was coming off a 2019 season for the record books. Raven Star led the league in touchdown passes and had the most rushing yards ever in a season by a quarterback. Former Super Bowl MVP Doug Williams thinks the reigning MVP could be setting a new NFL trend as a dual threat, saying, quote, "Unfortunately, we're not going to get a Lamar Jackson every year, but the next Lamar Jackson that does come out, I don't think the coaches and the scouts are going to sit around and say what he can't do as a quarterback. They're going to take a page out of Baltimore and go back and get the tape and see what they did with Lamar Jackson and use that. He has helped a lot of guys, especially young black guys that are super talented athletically." Joined once again by LeVar Arrington. But Acho, coming to you. You think Lamar's style has opened the door for others like him?
I do not. But first things first, shout out to Lamar because he is changing the culture. He is a trendsetter, and he is going to have a lot of young athletic quarterbacks. And being real, a lot of young black quarterbacks believing and dreaming and actually accomplishing them playing the quarterback position. But let me get to the point. You said, has Lamar opened up the door for others like him? He hasn't, because he can't open up the door. The door is opened by general managers, by head coaches, by quarterback coaches. Now, Lamar he'll have more people standing in line to get inside that door, but he hasn't opened up that door. Because what it comes down to is people will always look for an excuse or a reason not to do something they don't want to do. And right now, there's still an excuse not to lead with a mobile quarterback. Lamar Jackson, he's leaps and bounds ahead of what RG3 accomplished. But RG3 accomplished a lot now that first couple years. Lamar Jackson, he's shown he's leaps and bounds ahead of what Michael Vick accomplished. But still, Lamar Jackson hasn't won a playoff game. General managers, they don't care if you're the NFL MVP. They don't care if you're on the cover of Madden. They want to win Super Bowls, something that Lamar Jackson hasn't yet gotten close to doing. So he hasn't yet opened up the door for others like him, but he does have a few more people now standing in line to get inside.
So we're going to argue over how open the door is.
The door is not open.
You're saying it's not open at all. I disagree with that, and I agree with Doug Williams in this respect. Bill Polian. Bill Polian has changed his tone about Lamar Jackson. And why Bill Polian is always brought up with Lamar Jackson is because of how great Bill Polian is and how wrong he was about this talent. So all of the gatekeepers out there at all levels, it's not just Bill Polian, former general manager and Hall of Fame general manager, talking about Lamar Jackson and those type of quarterbacks, the mobile quarterbacks, dual threats, 2.0s. It's the lower level coaches and evaluators who are now understanding, oh, I could have been wrong about this type of talent. Let's talk about how this type of talent is even created. Because when I was growing up, a guy like me who turns out to be 6'4", 280, he wasn't even looking to be in the NFL. He wanted to be the boxing heavyweight champion of the world and lose a few pounds and try and do it. George Foreman and that type of scope. And then all of a sudden, the NFL started to have the money, have the resources, have the glamour. And that conditioned a guy like me to become something else. We all know from playing sandlot football, the greatest athlete on the sandlot is playing what position? Running back. And then that started to morph into, put him at receiver. Now you're going to look at receivers that are out there, talented, athletically gifted, and coach is going to walk up to him because of a Lamar Jackson success and say, hey, bro, can you throw the ball as well? And that's how the door is opening.
You're wrong. You're wrong. Sorry, LeVar. I can't let this one go. Because my dog is wrong. Marcellus, 12 quarterbacks, sir, have won the Super Bowl in the 2000s. 12. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Roethlisberger, Mahomes, Breeze, Rodgers, Flacco, Dilfer, Foles, and Brad Johnson. Of that list of those quarterbacks that have won the Super Bowl in the 2000s, one of them has run under a 4.7 40. That one being Russell Wilson. One of them. The objective of the game is to win the Super Bowl. It's not to have a ton of highlights. It's not to have a ton of wow splash plays. It's to win the Super Bowl. I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan. Let's make no mistake about it. I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan, but I can also spot the flaw in someone's logic. And the flaw in the logic is that general managers and head coaches, they want to win Super Bowls, and they will still lean towards the odds. And right now, until Lamar Jackson, which I hope he does, changes the trend, the odds still say you're more likely to win with the Brady, Manning, Roethlisberger type of quarterback than you are to win with the Lamar Jackson quarterback. Lamar Jackson will make more highlights. That's not what I'm saying. Lamar Jackson is a beast. I'm not arguing that. NFL MVP, not arguing that. But we can't sit here and act like what Lamar Jackson has done is going to change the mind of a bunch of general managers and coaches. That is optimistic and unrealistic thinking.
Do you want to refute? Do you want to rebuttal? I mean,
I'll go after you, LeVar, because I'm about to slice.
He's gathering his thoughts.
Well, I'm going to have to say I agree with Doug Williams as well. It does continue to further the conversation. But I will say this, to Acho's point, we've seen talented, gifted, athletic, and let's be real, black quarterbacks that have gotten an opportunity to lead football teams in the National Football League. I think back immediately to Randall Cunningham. All right. And I know people will bring up Gilliam and a few others, but for me, I think of Randall Cunningham as the first trendsetter of being a mobile quarterback that's able to deliver the ball. And then you move into the future, you see guys like Mike Vick that come along. You see Cordell Stewart, who was before Mike Vick. You see guys like, now with Lamar Jackson. To me, the reason why this has not been the same conversation until now is the whole mindset of play calling. You guys have not mentioned the aspects of how it's a copycat league in so many ways. So in play calling, we're looking at an RPO style offense of generation because of the way the plays that developed when the Wildcat became a craze and gave running mobile quarterbacks this different idea of how to operate and maneuver down the field. Now these organizations are looking at it the same exact way. Now it has morphed and evolved into an RPO style of offense where you can run and pass. For those who didn't know, layman terms, run and pass option. So to me, looking at the conversation now with a Lamar Jackson, it is going to be more imperative now than ever with the athletic ability and skill that is developing with this new generation of football players to have a quarterback that is mobile enough to get away from pass rushers, that is athletic enough to put themselves in position to either make a play with their legs or make it with their arms. So I do think that the door is open, and I think the conversation is relevant and alive as we speak.
I don't want to get into a show that's being produced that all of a sudden we're so binary. I'm with Doug Williams, I'm not, because I think what's really happening here is it's a collage, it's a gumbo of what we're all saying, but one thing that's been left out is the consistency at the position. Now, why the consistency hasn't been at that position, we have to go, like you said, Randall Cunningham. That was the first guy I saw like that as well. But his best year was when he was 35, being real. And 1998, after we had seen Randall Cunningham, but he wasn't what Lamar Jackson was before only 1 year, maybe. Colin Kaepernick could go there, Michael Vick, and you can keep going there. But then when you start saying consistent body of work, that's the issue. And it was even addressed in this conversation about Lamar Jackson. What's he going to do now since he's the MVP? That's going to kick the door wide open instead of what I'm saying is that is changing minds already. Let's talk about what Acho is doing wrong and his time shifting. And he uses all of the Super Bowl winning quarterbacks of today and yesterday that have all benefited from this same implicit bias that Lamar Jackson is trying to change. So what happens is you're going to go with the odds. You're going to go with the actual winners. And you're not going to respect that there's no one else in that sample size because of the implicit bias that tells that guy who could throw to play receiver, that tells that guy who could throw to play running back, to play cornerback. So you won't even have the same numbers. When they talk about equality, you know what they say? It's not the opportunity to be exceptional. It's the opportunity to just be ordinary and properly rewarded. Chris Rock had a joke about this. He was like, man, why in the hell I got to be this famous comedian, entertainer, living next to a dentist, white dentist, doctor, entertainer, Chris Rock? And it's funny, that's what we're doing to Lamar Jackson right now. Lamar Jackson got to be so much just to even have an opportunity to swing the pendulum. But the thing about it is, he just needs consistency. And he also needs others to not have barriers in front of them when the opportunity is presented. An athletic guy used to have to play running back when I was growing up, or receiver after I was out of high school. Now that guy should be able to play quarterback. If that changes, then Acho's resume of quarterbacks that won the Super Bowl would change.
I agree with you. This is the last thing I got to say on this matter. 2001, first overall pick of the first round. Michael Vick. Last time he had meaningful minutes, 2012-2013 season. 2001, first overall pick of the second round. Drew Brees, favored to win the Super Bowl this year in 2020, 7 years after Mike Vick has had meaningful minutes. Lamar Jackson does have an entire pendulum to swing nearly single-handedly, but until it swings, I don't think the door is swinging open.
All right, well, let's keep it on. Coming up, Damian Lillard put the league on notice last night, and that could spell major trouble for the Lakers. We'll explain next. Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Let's head to the NBA, where Damian Lillard put on a show last night. Dame tied a career high with 61 points against the Mavericks. Then he let everybody know to, quote, put some respect on my bleeping name, man. The win puts the Blazers in the driver's seat for the 8th seed in the West with a chance to play the Lakers in the first round. Joined now by Fox NBA analyst, my dog, Chris Broussard. Acho, coming to you first. Would Dame's Blazers be a problem for the Lakers?
Absolutely, bruh. The Blazers, what we've seen from them boys is they are literally the antithesis of the Lakers. Like, everything the Lakers are not, the Blazers are. Blazers, when you talk about how they are #1 right now in offensive rating, Lakers last. Blazers #2 in three-point percentage, Lakers, last? So everything that the Blazers are doing and are doing well, the Lakers are not. Blazers trending upward. Lakers are just sputtering, trying to survive. You know, I listen to some other dudes that I really respect. We got my guy, Nick Wright. He posed the question, who's going to guard LeBron James? Bruh. Who's going to guard C.J. McCollum? Who's going to guard Dame? Who's going to guard Gary Trent Jr.? The Blazers have a ton of questions, and the Lakers will not have any answers. So I think that they are going to be a problem. But if nothing else, even if the Lakers do get by the Blazers, which I do think they will, it's just going to take a lot more work, Bron ain't going to have that same rest. And the goal and the objective for the Lakers ain't to beat the 8th seed. The goal and the objective is to make it to and win the finals. So even if they can scurry past the Blazers, it's going to take them entirely too much effort, entirely too much work. And I do think that the Blazers pose a huge, huge problem for them Lakers, man.
Can I go?
Yes, please go. Balance this out.
Emmanuel, you sound like a football player talking basketball.
How? Watch the tape.
The Blazers, I'll give you, they'll go 6.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right.
A good fight.
Dame will have 3-4 good games, which will get him great games, which will get him 2 victories. But Nick Wright is on the money. Who they got to stop LeBron? And stopping CJ and Dame is not the same as stopping LeBron James. There is such a thing as playoff LeBron. This late season swoon by the Lakers is really familiar for a lot of LeBron James teams. In 2017 in Cleveland, they finished the last 2 months 11-15, turn it on in the playoffs, get to the finals. 2016, they finished 10-7, turn it on in the playoffs, win the finals. So this isn't unusual. LeBron will come out stoked for the playoffs, and they can't stop him. But beyond that, they can't stop Anthony Davis. See, the Blazers' perimeter defense is poor, and that's their problem. Look, you're right that their shooting is going to give the Lakers some problems because they don't guard the perimeter well either, but there is no way Dame is going to beat LeBron and Anthony Davis. CJ will be inconsistent. Gary Trent Jr. will probably not play that well in the spotlight of the playoffs this first round. So
really?
They're going out.
Where'd that come from?
See, Broussard, here's what I learned, Marcellus. Here's what I learned about these so-called basketball guys.
Oh, okay.
Here's what I learned.
Get 'em.
See, you're one of those football guys. It's such a lazy take.
Lazy.
It's an easy out to try to defeat facts. See, there's being a football guy, but then there's just being an intelligent human being.
Oh!
And all it is, CB, is I'm looking at the real stats and the real facts of the matter. What I learned, bro, I spent way too much time in the casinos, bro. I spent way too much time in my playing days. And I learned you can't bet against the wave. And what you're trying to do right now is bet against the wave. Well, sooner or later, Dame is going to break. Well, he's a playoff guy. You know, I do think LeBron is a playoff guy, but I also think that the Blazers pose real threats. I'm not saying the Blazers are going to beat them, but the question was, should the Lakers be nervous? Them boys should definitely be nervous.
Go, Chris.
You're putting too much stock in the bubble. So I guess Phoenix is one of the best teams in the league.
This is our disconnect.
I guess T.J. Warren is an all-star now.
But here's my thing. Broussard.
The bubble is a strange place.
Do we care about what happened in November of 2019 or what happened August 11th of 2020?
Yeah.
I just don't care what the record was on Christmas Day last year.
Yeah.
That feels like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of putting stock in the bubble. It's just, I am what have you done for me lately, not what have you done for me. Dame is averaging 37 points a game in the bubble compared to his 28 points a game outside the bubble. That 37 has to weigh more than that 28. The fact that Danny Green can't even find the rim has to mean more than what he did in the NBA Finals back in 2013. It has to. Make that make sense.
Hey, save me some of them ribs, homie. Let me get some of this, too. Let me jump up in here right now, because y'all know I'm the full screen king, so let me just start. Let me just set the tone with my full screen. I want to talk about the bubble, because that's where they're going to play the playoffs. No home court advantage. Poor LeBron and them went out there and fought for home court. Doesn't even matter. And that's what I'm seeing right now, a comparison of the two teams in the bubble. I don't see one category in which the Lakers are better. Not one category, even though they have arguably the best duo in the NBA. Not one category you better than this team. So that is called a wave coming at you when you talk about the Portland Trail Blazers. Then you start talking about double-digit scores, and I love how you just went and said Trent Jr. is not going to play well under the bright lights, but Kyle Kuzma is? Oh, how many playoff minutes Kyle Kuzma got?
Don't do it to him.
Donut. So you're talking about
in the league. Kuzma's been in the league.
Yeah, but this is
essentially his first go-round. We've already seen it. How did he do last night? Now that all of a sudden he's on the marquee.
It happened twice. That wasn't the first time.
Gary Trent Jr., and then he lays an egg. Come on, I'm telling you.
He's played in bigger games that Duke did, and Kuzma has in the NBA. Hello, let's keep going. 7 double-digit scores on the Portland Trail Blazers versus only 4 on the Lakers, and one of them is Kuzma, so we don't even know if he's going to count. Anyway, let's talk about old school. Sometimes football, basketball guy, we can get caught up in name-calling and lose all of the real material here. The real is, let's go to the sand lot. Let's play a little pickup game. And I'm going to have you to pick between Lillard, McCollum, Carmelo, Nurkic, Whiteside, and Trent Jr. And you sitting over there with LeBron, AD, Waiters, Kuzma, KCP. What are y'all going to do? Forget titles. Forget accolades. Forget what you used to do.
You can't.
Why can't we? Because this is what's coming. They're going to meet in this moment. They're not going to meet in the past.
Broussard, you living in the past right now, Broussard? You living in the past?
First of all, let your Blazers get there first. Because I'm not convinced they're getting there. I'm picking them to get there to the 8th seed, but beating Memphis 2 times straight is not going to be easy. And I really hope it's Portland and Phoenix. Because I want to see Dame versus Book. And I'm picking Portland to get there, but y'all tripping. 6 games.
6 games?
It sounds like Marcellus, you picking. Go ahead and say it with your chest. You picking the
Trailblazers in 3, and I know it takes 4. Coming up, Baker Mayfield is calling out his critics again. Uncle Jimmy will break it all down next. Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Let's talk Baker Mayfield. He sent a message to his critics on Instagram saying, quote, I let a lot of y'all get too comfortable. It's about that time. Insert trolls commenting from their couch. Joined now by Uncle Jimmy. So you like Baker sending a message to his critics?
Uncle in the dog pen.
Hey, man, Baker's just mad because he's white and he ain't got that privilege. You understand what I'm saying?
Where we going?
Baker's just mad because he's white. he got on a boat with a bunch of brothers, smoked a bunch of blunts, and done a bunch of dumbass TikTok videos, and he think it's supposed to give him a pass in the hood for life. But that's not how this works, cuz.
How it work,
Passes in the hood come few and far in between. In my lifetime, I ain't seen but 3 passes.
Okay.
One went to Vanilla Ice, one went to Eminem, and one went to Mike Jackson. So if you ask me, Baker Mayfield suffering from Sammy Sosa syndrome, meaning he's mad if people don't recognize him when he ain't in uniform nowadays. And that's the only he got. I'm done. Bottom line, case closed.
I hope the whole dog pound don't feel that way. It's going to be some hard home games for him.